Get on the hype train, New York Comic-Con 2019. IGN starts to drop some leaks early as of this recording. So it looks like we got the name. It's War for Cybertron, Earthrise as the next generation's set of this trilogy. The second part, if you will, part 2. So goodbye to Siege, hello to Earthrise. And Earthrise is sporting a beautiful, beautiful new concept that makes me super excited. And that is a continuation of that of the Micromaster idea and continuing into that Micromaster evolution. Just like back in the 90s, we went from Micromaster little sets, which we're still going to have, but now have our play sets. Now, when I discussed about the leaked list a while back, they made a mention of a deluxe Ironworks. And I was going like, well, we got Iron Tread, which is Ironworks the Micromaster in that 10-pack. So maybe this Ironworks here is just, you know, a re-trademarking for maybe Iron Fist. I don't know. Well, I'm happy to be wrong here because what it is essentially is Ironworks is going to be a form of a weaponizer meets Micromaster playset. And this looks amazing. It looks amazing, and I'm super happy with this. Now, it's interesting how they're going about it in that they looked at Siege and how they had this weaponizer concept within their deluxe price point. And each wave, except the very last one, which had to conform to the fan vote for the Mirage and Impactor, they essentially pretty much was like, okay, we're going to keep the weaponizer price point. We're going to kind of tweak it a little bit here and there and add a little gimmick that it could also turn into a playset and still have a robot mode, which those playsets back in the day didn't have. The playsets back in the day were essentially just, you know, it turned from a city kind of mode to an attack mode, and that was it. What goes on here instead is they go from a city mode to a robot mode, which is really cool to have your own little, you know, Autobot cities, if you will, in the deluxe price point. And this looks great, and they even show it with some Micromasters to show how it functions. Also, what this is interesting is because they show it broken apart, I think there's going to be a lot of customizing and swapping that could be done here because there's a lot of universal pegs and flap joints that probably could be plugged in. So I think when we're going to get more of these Micromaster playsets, we're going to get a better idea of some swapping and some customizing that could be done and make some really cool little combinations. So essentially the list that we got originally said Micromaster Hot Rod Patrol and Micromaster Military Patrol. We don't see any indications right now of what the Military Patrol is, but we do see the Hot Rod Patrol. And I am happy to report that Big Daddy has been trademarked again and is back in retail. So we got yet another Big Daddy toy, his last one being in 2008 with the movie line, aka Universe 2.0, and he has a brand new mold. He's not a repaint. He looks great in his not Bel Air alt mode, and he sports his colors and looks spectacular. I didn't expect this choice to be done with the second Micromaster in that of Trip Up. So they're going to go with Trip Up, which is the very tailgate alt mode, but have the hot greens for the robot mode. So hey, Trip Up's trademarked, he's back. Maybe they'll use that down the line. I'm trying to imagine what they'll do with repaints of these two, because those are two very difficult characters to do repaints of. There's not a lot of other Micromasters that have the same kind of, I guess we could call it, flavor of mold. So it's something that if they want to, they could do a Micromaster wind charger, or they could do a Micromaster tailgate if they want with that Trip Up mold. With the Bel Air in Big Daddy, I don't know. There's a lot of new characters maybe they can make with that for another 10-pack or a 5-pack down the line. Getting to the War for Cybertron Ironworks, again, I'm super excited about this. This is amazing. Now he's a sentient character instead of just being a playset from the Zone planet or from a Micromaster perspective. When it comes from how this is going to be distributed for the future, and I started really pulling up charts and stuff. So if you look at Siege, Siege had the weaponizer price point among the other deluxes. Like, Wave 1, you had Sideswipe, Hound, and Skytread, but there was Cog in Wave 1, the weaponizer. Wave 2 was the same thing. You had Chromia, Ironhide, and Prowl, but there was Six Gun, the weaponizer, and the same thing with Wave 3 with the Refractor, Red Alert, and Brunt. And like I said before, Wave 4 had to deal with the fan votes and stuff. So, but it looked like the weaponizer price point always had one per wave. So my prediction is pretty much is that we're probably going to see the same thing. We're probably going to have, for each wave, we're going to have one of these Micromaster playset characters. Maybe might be left out of a wave, like in this case, maybe not. And of course, just like the weaponizers, they found their way also in store exclusives, like they did with the Power Dashers. So if you look at the history of Micromaster stations in 1989, which what the playsets were, you had Hot House, you had Ironworks, you had Grease Pit, and Airwave of the smaller price point. So the way I see it, if they play their cards right, they could probably do all of these. All of these could be done in some shape or form, whether it be through retail or exclusive stuff or Hasbro Pulse. If they want to go outside and do larger stuff, like they could do the larger Micromaster bases from 89, but do them in the smaller deluxe price point. They could, Ground Shaker, Skyhopper, Sky Stalker, or even the largest of them all, Countdown. But I almost look at, if we're gonna go with this Earthrise thing, if you want to do Countdown, you got an easy way out of Countdown. You take that Omega Supreme that we have right now, you do Omega Sentinel colors on it, and it pretty much is Countdown. The blues, the whites, and the reds of an Omega Sentinel, you put that on Omega Supreme, now you got a Countdown, pretty much. I mean, just look at it. Look at the original G1 Countdown. Look at Omega Sentinel colors throughout the history. You could pull that off easily. So you would have another good Micromaster base, pretty much, if you want to have another big, huge figure for your 2020, 2021 property. But that's just a suggestion. It's a free one on me. Ground Shaker, Skyhopper, Sky Stalker, again, across the board here, you have 8 Micromaster playsets. Not counting the Combiner playsets, which are pretty limited, and not counting any other like obscure kind of stuff. Just you essentially have those 8 that you could jump into. And of course you have like the Autobot transport one and the tank one, which are also very large ones, but of the more core, smaller ones that I feel are more doable outside of Countdown, I could see stuff being done. I could see something like Grease Pit, being a Micromaster playset, and it'd be really cool to see that. And again, if we look at the past from last series, you have essentially 4, maybe 5 slots to do this. So you have 8 to choose from. They could probably tackle the original 4 stations, the smaller ones, and maybe of the other 4, maybe pick 1 or 2 to fill in the gap, or dare I say an original idea, maybe. But so far, I mean, if you look at the weaponizers, none of them are based on original ideas. They're all based on stuff from previous history. It's just the way that the Generation Classics kind of lines are. Siege wasn't, and it's the same thing here. So I imagine that if we see more of these, they're going to be based on previously existing Micromaster stations from 89 and bases from 89. But yeah, I'm very excited about this. This is really cool. So this is just early New York Comic-Con news that we're getting as of Tuesday. So I'm hoping that as we get closer to New York Comic-Con this weekend, maybe we'll learn more about the military patrol. We'll learn more about maybe if there's more play sets coming. I mean, again, if it's the weaponizer price point, the weaponizer kind of thing, they're only going to show Wave 1, and it'll be the one of the Wave 1, and everything else of the deluxes will be the other reveals that we've discussed also. So we'll see. We'll see. But I am very happy about this. Big Daddy is back. We got Micromaster playsets are back. This is Proto Man's childhood growing up on G1 right in his face. So I'm very happy about this. This is some cool stuff. Let me know what you think, and we're going to discuss the other reveals in the next segment.